And there's your answer to the question, did they make noir in other countries? Yes, and in some cases, better. You'd never get an ending as dark and twisted as that in Hollywood. Los Tallos Amargos was only the second feature film directed by Fernando Ayala, who served his apprenticeship in the movie business during the reign of dictator Juan Perón. Now, regulars of Noir Alley often hear me reference the blacklisting of American artists inspired by anti-communist crusaders in the federal government. It was far worse in Argentina, where Perón, who intended to be dictator for life, dominated the film business, demanding that films extol the virtues of his fascist leadership and jailing or exiling artists that he deemed enemies. The beginning of Ayala's career coincided with the fall of the Perón regime in 1955, and his early films contained social commentary that would never have passed muster if Perón still held power. To many Argentines, the character of Alfredo Gaspar represented intrinsic insecurities in the national character, the sense that in comparison to Europe, Argentina had fallen to second world status. Gaspar's obsession with living up to the greatness of his German war hero father was a symbolic way of expressing it. In the 1960s, Ayala and his partner, Hector Olivera, formed Ares Cinematográfica, which became one of the most prominent production houses in Argentina. Ayala dedicated himself to making films for a populace routinely rocked by economic upheaval. He stopped making artistic films in favor of popular entertainment for the masses, and as a result, his reputation among Argentine cinephiles plummeted. The actresses in Los Tallos Amargos are all terrific, but I will make special mention of Aida Luz, who played Elena. The director was fortunate to get her for a relatively small role because she was a big star, and paired with Carlos Corres, it ensured his film would reach a wide audience. The native of Buenos Aires was one of the most famous actresses in South America on both stage and screen. She started making films in the 1930s, and her career lasted all the way into the 21st century, playing matriarchs on many popular telenovelas. As for Vasily Lambrinos, the ill-fated Liuris, I've got a wonderful story to share. In 2016, Los Tallos Amargos was shown at the Museum of Modern Art in Manhattan, part of a series comprising Perón-era films restored or preserved by the Film Noir Foundation. Fernando Peña even came up from Buenos Aires to present the films with me. So imagine our surprise and delight when Vasily Lambrinos himself appeared at the screening. Amazingly, after having spent his life living all over the world and becoming close friends with Audrey Hepburn, he had settled down in an apartment not 3 blocks from the museum. He was 90 years old and had never seen Los Tallos Amargos on the big screen. He told the audience he was encouraged to appear in this film because Fernando Ayala was a great director of actors, which gave him the confidence to do it, even though he never seriously considered an acting career. He was primarily a dancer and choreographer. In fact, he left Argentina before the film was released and never knew he'd won that year's Critics' Award for Best Supporting Actor. Ayala accepted on his behalf. Lambrinos had only seen the film in the editing room. The MoMA screening that day was the first time he'd seen Los Tallos Amargos with an audience. And the timing was fortuitous, as he passed away the following year. I hope you enjoyed today's movie, which will soon be available in an enhanced Blu-ray edition from our partners at Flicker Alley. We'll have another of our Argentine restorations later in the year on Noir Alley. And remember that every Friday night this month, Ben Mankiewicz and I are presenting neo-noir films from the 70s and 80s. This coming Friday, we're showing Blood Simple, Night Moves, and Cutter's Way, a personal favorite of mine. Next week, Noir Alley leaves sultry South America for the American suburbs. Loretta Young and Barry Sullivan are an unhappily married couple in Cause for Alarm, a trim little nail-biter from 1951. Until then, adiós, amigas and amigas. Vuelva en una semana.